I'm going to be the best version of myself, then I have to kind of do things to feed what my spirit needs. Stop drinking. They have to not, it's not like I'm going to stop like Monday, Tuesday. Like, you know, it's not like about setting rules for yourself. It's about replacing those triggers with different things. It's the same thing, right? Like sometimes we can stay. I see a lot of people can stay through a sermon. Hey, welcome to Faith Unfiltered. This is where we talk about everything Christian, real faith, real people, teaching others how to grow in their walk with Christ. And so don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the podcast. The Christian walk and why it's so difficult. And I think maybe we can start from there and then we can discuss and talk about it. But I know that it can be very difficult, especially when it comes to the Christian walk. Yeah. And I know a lot of us like have challenges, I guess, when it comes to Christian walks and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, when you think about the Christian walk and how difficult it is, do you think it's difficult or what makes it so difficult? I guess let's start with that.
So first of all, I feel like it is obviously going to be very difficult for anybody. I feel like anyone who looks at it and says Christianity is easy hasn't really looked deep into Christianity, because it's denying. I feel like it's denying oneself of everything you've ever known and following somebody, like following the way of Christ, which is not the template of our today's world at all. So it's like relearning your whole life, if I should say. So it's really difficult, especially when things are just so accessible for people in this day and age. So it's like, you want me to stop doing something I've been doing for since I was 5. And then you hear, oh, this is not right, that is not right, and you're like, this is my normal. Now I have to change my normal. So it's, in that way, it's really difficult.
I would I would say it's also really difficult, like balancing your life, like your personal life and your Christ and your walk with Jesus, because I mean, you are still like on this walk with Jesus Christ. You're still you want to do everything that pleases him and follow his word and not, go against it or anything, but at the same time you also want to be there for your family and also like do also personal things that you have in your personal life. And I find that like with me, I struggle with that sometimes. And
I think we all do.
I find that hard because I have like my mom and my sisters to check up on, and I have my schoolwork, and just so many things that are overwhelming, and I still have to come to church, which is, and I don't want it to feel like a chore I'm doing my work with Christ. I want it to feel like something that is genuine.
It's real.
To me.
I get it. Because so I have a few things that maybe we can go through. And so we can go through the Bible and then see some of the things that actually make the Christian walk difficult. I think some of the things that make the Christian walk difficult, it's something that goes beyond just wanting to follow a bunch of rules, right? I think it's a real war between, like you were saying, right? It's our old life and then the new life that we have, right? And I think that sometimes we can't live the Christian life because we love our old life, the freedom to do certain things, right? And not want to feel like you'll be judged for it or something like that. Or maybe sometimes when you leave that old life, it's like now you're just afraid that you're just afraid that like your friend or everybody will be like, oh, I thought you were Christian and then why are you here? That kind of thing, right? So but I do have like some kind of stuff, right, that we can go through, right? So and again, right, we don't want anyone to feel, right, that it's so impossible to be a Christian. I think that's something that we want to be able to really balance. We don't want anyone to feel like you can't be a Christian because of the lifestyle we are saying that, or Christ is asking from us, right? And so that's the thing that we want to be able to, say, I guess, and talk about. But one of the things that can be very difficult, right, is the flesh and the spirit, right? Because like our flesh is always fighting with what our spirit wants. I don't know if you guys want to go to it, but it's like in Galatians 5, verse, I think it's 5:15. And we can go to it really quickly. But there's a part in Galatians 5 that actually talks about the war between like the spirit and then the flesh. So I'll open it really quickly. If you're there, you can also.
Galatians 5.
Yeah, 5:17. Start with 17. Yeah.
Okay.
I can just go here.
Do I read it?
Yeah.
The sinful nature wants to do evil, which is just the opposite of what the spirit wants. And the spirit gives us desires that are the opposite of what the sinful nature desires. These two forces are constantly fighting each other, so you are not free to carry out your good intentions.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So in verse 18, it goes and it's talking about like, oh no, verse 19, it says that the things that our flesh naturally wants is sexual immorality, moral impurity, promiscuity, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, strife, jealousy, outburst of wrath, selfish ambitions, dissensions, factions. So basically just listing a lot of things that I think that naturally our flesh really wants.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think always the fight is. And it's not just all these like, it's not all these little minute things. Like I'm not saying that it can be right always about the big sins. Right. Even sometimes obeying can be sometimes difficult. Right. And I don't know what you guys think. Like what's your idea between like what your spirit wants versus what like your flesh wants?
To be honest, I feel like it's really difficult because personally, recently I had to quit certain things in my life that I felt were a hindrance. I feel like it also boils down to like what is, because there are certain things we have in our lives that don't really look like, oh, the Bible didn't specifically say this is wrong.
Right.
So why would you have to cut this out?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing I'm about to say is somehow like that. So I had to quit reading comics.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I quit
like
so
anime,
many.
right?
Yeah, I quit so many things, but I felt like that was the hardest for me to quit because I kept battling. It's not wrong.
Yeah.
Like at the same time, it's like this is teaching me resilience. This is teaching me this.
Right.
Like this is teaching me that. But it had an underlining issue. There was an underlining issue within there. Like what was I opening myself towards?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I could prioritize that over anything. Like if I start, I do not know how many hours will
You'll
go.
be in
like,
it.
I would just, I can spend the whole day just reading or watching an anime, and I won't realize how much time has gone.
Yeah.
And I realized that, this is something I have to quit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how our flesh and our spirit, because I won't say this is not the first time I've been thinking about quit. This is bad, quit. This is not, I've said it so many times, I've quit, and I'll go back and I'll watch or I'll go back and I'll read. I've deleted the app so many times and I've re-downloaded I feel
re-downloading
like
the app for stuff.
To be honest, it's a big battle, but at the same time it shows how your flesh is constantly battling. Because I could be praying with that time, I could be studying my Bible with that time, and when it's time for you to do those other things like with God, it becomes a struggle. But when it's time for you to do the things that your flesh desires, it's like comfortable because you're used to it. So I feel like I do understand the battle between like flesh and the spirit in that sense. So What
about you, Pearl? What do you think? Like, what do you think? Like, you struggle with that?
Okay, so
Yeah.
like even before I came to CBU, I struggled a lot with like listening to certain music. Like I said before in the podcast before this one, like it was just different artists I would like take priority over to like actually having a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And it was like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, you know, my
Yeah.
OGs, you know, 'cause
Yeah.
it was like in the morning, like even when I woke up, I would start playing it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That was like, and as time went on, I realized that was a big problem that I had
Yeah.
to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I just and after I wouldn't say it's been hard because like there were times I went back to it, but then I actually like really stopped going back for a long time, and I was impressed with myself.
Yeah.
And I just started listening to more gospel music like during when I was studying, or like if I'm just like in the kitchen cooking, cleaning, or anything like that. But yeah.
I guess that's where I think that's where a lot of people give up. I think when it comes to like the stopping thing, right? And you kind of have to see it like you're not really trying to do a bunch of good things versus like bad things, right? It's like you're doing it because you want your spirit to have the best chance of, you know, helping you, I guess, in your it's almost like when you're sick, you're gonna take pills, right? Like medication and stuff. So you kind of have to see it like if things that we don't need, it's like we're trying to force ourselves. But the trick, or I won't say the trick, but I think the thing that you can do is that when we stop ourselves from actually when we try to hold ourselves, it's why we will go back to it again, because we don't replace it. Do you see how it works? So basically you're trying to stop like worldly music. It's not just about saying I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna cut it. You kind of have to replace it, right, with something. It's almost like you're teaching your spirit man new things, right? So I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong, is that they say they want to stop things like drinking, or like they want to stop things like fornication and all those things, right? Those things are like, for example, I know a lot of people drink because of emotional responses, right? So it's like you know how sometimes you go through a lot of things, and because you don't want to face those things, right? You replace it with drinking. And so when someone is trying to stop drinking, they have to it's not like I'm going to stop like Monday, Tuesday. Like, you know, it's not like by setting rules for yourself. It's about replacing those triggers with different things. And I think that's where the biggest difference is, because it's like, it's always going to be a fight between your spirit and your flesh. And so I think that the more you keep feeding your spirit, the more your flesh will lose power. And I think that's where we want to get, not stopping because I think when we try to stop it all the time,
that becomes really difficult. And you have like time that isn't occupied in where you're doing that, so you keep going back. That's true.
So you see, do you get it? So that's the problem, right? Because we're not replacing those bad habits with the things that will feed the spirit, right? So of course, in the case of music, it's gonna be like, if I have been like you said, you get up in the morning and then you play like worldly music, right? And so if you're gonna stop that, it's not about saying I'm gonna cut it off. It's about replacing your mornings with music. Like godly music. And so when you keep doing that, it's like you are teaching your spirit man new stuff. Right. I think also that's what it's like. Do you understand what we mean by like born again?
You become a new person.
Exactly. And so it's like you become a baby, right? It's like you look grown, but your spirit is a baby. So you kind of have to teach your spirit new things, right? And so a lot of people stop at the thing that they're struggling with. So it's almost like a baby, right? When you take away something from a baby, what will happen? The baby will cry. The baby will throw tantrums and stuff, right? But then when you, like, for example, you know that the baby is holding something that would kill it. You don't just say, stop, because the baby is going to want to, the baby wants it back. But what you do is that you replace that thing with something else for the baby to now like, right? So I think that's where the whole thing is when it comes between the why Christians struggle is because we are not replacing the things that we used to do with new things.
Okay.
So I think that's where the difficulty can be. Yeah. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yeah.
What is the sense in which Christians struggle due to the trials and tribulation? Because I feel like when you give your life to Christ, in as much as you're letting go of your old life, the verse that says count it all joy.
Yeah.
True.
Like when you go through trials. Yeah.
So those period where you're going through trials where it is building you up in, let's say, your faith, it's building you up in how you lean on God and how you trust in God. I feel like most people also fail to see that aspect too. Like it wouldn't be all
rosy
because it's not a genie request and you get your answers kind of situation.
Yeah.
Because I found out the hard way, to be honest.
Yeah.
Once I became really serious about my walk with God, I realized I was God's. This is God uses battles to strike.
Yeah. Gives his toughest soldiers the.
At that moment, you realize that even if certain circumstances don't go favorable in the way you expect it to, trusting God will actually work out in the end. And also, people tend to look down on the waiting period.
Big thing.
Yeah.
Big thing.
The waiting period is a really, should I say, important and a really not talked about period in Christianity, I feel. Because sometimes it can look like 2 years. Some people it look like 8 years. And most people think their life isn't just moving forward.
Yeah.
But I feel like if God has kept you for 8 years, that waiting period, what you've been thinking, my life didn't make any sense, could all happen within a week.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But that waiting period is the toughest.
Yeah.
I think that's also what makes Christianity hard. People
very hard.
Can't stand that waiting.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't like that waiting period.
Yeah,
I won't come here and pretend it's an easy period.
Yeah.
But I feel that also makes Christianity
very difficult.
Very, I emphasize on the very difficult. Yeah.
No, it's true. Because I think it's you can't really necessarily make, it all start, when we get born again, right? It's almost like telling a baby to grow up fast, right? And so it's almost like we don't, like you're saying, right? We don't rely on God through the slow moments, especially when it comes to waiting. No, because our generation is very instant, right? Everything is just, and then if you also grew up in a family where it's just always, everything was given to you, your brain is kind of wired that, this is supposed to change now. It has to change now. So I think what you're saying is very true. I think a lot of us, as believers, are not very patient with waiting through the thing, right? Especially when it comes to addictions and, trusting in God and stuff, right? I think the waiting period plays a huge part.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then again too, right? I think that's also what God wants to build in us at some point. He wants to make you more patient, right? I know it's very hard, and I think that's what makes it difficult, right? Is the fact that it's just the waiting is hard.
Yeah,
the waiting is hard. But we can talk more about that in the other episode. But one of the things that I also have, right, is the isolation and the lack of a community. I feel like when you don't have people around you who can help you through your struggle, I think that's what makes it difficult. I don't know. I mean, then again, so it's not like because I feel like even though periods by yourself is good, but I feel like sometimes we really need each other, especially when it comes to certain things that are difficult, right? Because I think the Christians were not all, well, I won't say Christians, right? But I don't think we're wired to necessarily be on our own, right? I don't think we're wired to be on our own because at the end of the day, right, okay, so I have something like this here, right? A lot of believers are trying to survive spiritually alone, right? And so things like church hurts, people have a lot of church hurts, right? So somebody hurt them in church or something happened, right?
Yeah.
And then like maybe sometimes surface level friendships. So sometimes you're not really close to somebody in church, so you don't really feel the need to be there. Right. And then like missing fellowship, right? So that's why we emphasize on like things like the cell ministry, because then like you have a space to be able to talk to people about your problem and stuff like that, right? So that's something that I have here, and the Bible actually gives a remedy for it, right? You remember the Bible says that don't forsake the gathering of the saints.
Yes.
And it's also because like the reason why we don't forsake the gathering of the saints is because when you come to church or something, right, like or like a fellowship or a community, chances of your problem being solved is there. So sometimes you might not necessarily hear from the pastor, but when you tell your friend your problem, they're able to encourage you.
Yes.
Right. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like isolation and like the community. Do you think that we need a community, or it's just like we don't need it or stuff like that?
I do think it's important to have a group of people that you really trust. Doesn't necessarily have to be this big, huge, this community, because it can also feel really overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
So just like even like maybe just one friend or just someone you really trust in the church. Maybe that can really help you through your tough times, because I know everyone's not really comfortable with sharing
a lot of stuff like
things.
No, it's true. Yeah.
To be honest, I would say I'm really grateful for the cell.
Yeah.
Because I feel all my friends are in the cell. So most of the friends I'm closest to currently are from the cell. So at the same time, I'm not someone who can easily share my problems out there. But if anything happens, based on the fact that in this cell community, we are given a space where not only do we, should I say, come here to fellowship and worship God, we're given a space where it feels like a mini family in a larger family. In as much as the cell is church, we are given also, like our cell leader makes it so open and so homely. So I see most of them as, oh, this is my sis, this is my bro, this is my dude. So it's easy, and you kind of know when people are off in this small community, because when people are out of their element, you just kind of see it. And when it's small, when we are going through issues, we tend to come with the issues and we pray about the issues and we talk about the issues. So I feel like even if, like she said, even if you can't do a huge setting, I feel the cell does
plays a huge part.
Yeah, because it breaks that barrier of where you have to know everybody. And you can find, like, out of everybody in that cell, at least one or two people. Even if it's not the cell members, the cell leaders are so open, checking up on you. So you would have somebody. I feel if anybody thinks they have nobody on their own corner, it's not that they have no one, it's that they are not showing up. Because there are so many. And to be honest, even when people do not show up, there are people who do reach out. I feel like if you do not reach out back to the people reaching out to you, you can't say nobody's at your corner.
Exactly.
Because everybody, I feel we're Christians, and we not only are we a church, but we are a family. We are one body together.
100%.
So everyone watches out for each other. Now you might be hurt by someone in church. We are all human.
Exactly. But more meant to step on each other's toes once in a while. Like a family, like siblings.
My siblings step on my toe every time. That doesn't mean I necessarily would
you hate them,
like
or,
never speak to them again. It has, to be honest, there's sometimes you do wish.
Like they're so annoying.
Exactly.
So someone like that can be
But based on the fact that we are Christians and we are coming to emulate Christ, I feel like that also shows where we have to have that grace element too. Because all of us we're literally trying just to be better. We're not perfect human
Nobody's
beings
perfect.
coming together. So if community is very important, but also people have to reach out.
Yeah.
Like if people are reaching out to you, you
Yeah.
have to also accept the hand that is being stretched out to you
100%.
without, because people blaming it on people not being there for you when
Yeah,
people
are there for you.
wouldn't.
Yeah, you can't really I guess it's not fair.
It isn't fair.
Yeah, it isn't fair to like especially when it comes to a brother checking up on somebody, right? And I think a lot of people find it very annoying also, right? When you check up on them too much.
Yeah.
Right. But I think there's also a spiritual element when it comes to fellowshipping, right? I think there's this whole thing about coming to church that I feel like a lot of people don't understand the reason why we come to church, right? It's as like, so I have this analogy, right? So coming to church doesn't make someone a Christian, but you come to church because you are a Christian. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of does.
So I'll explain. I'll explain. So coming to church does a few things to the Christian, right? In the sense that, think of it like a student, right? Okay, so coming to class doesn't make you a student.
Yeah.
But you kind of need the class to pass.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yes.
So it's like coming to class doesn't label you doesn't label you a student, but you kind of need the class to be able to pass. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with Christianity, right? It doesn't make you a Christian, but it's essential for your Christian growth, right? Coming to church is essential because you come to learn new things. You come to, like we just learned today, right, about using your gifts,
Yes.
right? And we said that by using your gift, it creates the purpose, right? And so obviously the church is designed for you to function in these areas, right? Right? You're growing, you're hearing the word of God. Because how many times have you heard like a word preached and you're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed? Or maybe you've been trying to think about something and then all of a sudden it's talked about.
Yeah.
You've had that before,
A
right?
lot.
A lot, right? And then you can tell that like as time went on, your faith was growing. You started growing as a Christian, right? And so I want to move on to the last topic, but what I want, like, just to premise what we're saying, right, is that coming to church and having the community is essential for the Christian's growth. So that means that if somebody stops coming to church, the growth declines,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? And then the fellowship is not there, and then the community can help you. So because a lot of people struggle by themselves, right? So imagine if you had somebody in church who just had the exact words to say to you. That means that you missed that opportunity, right? And so I actually believe that coming to church is essential,
Yes.
right? That's because, and it's also, remember, we're saying why Christians struggle. You remember the whole topic? The whole topic is why do Christians struggle? It's because of the community. When the community aspect is not there, there's no accountability. There's no encouragement, right? And then you can also grow. You can't even fulfill the purpose that God gave you, because then you're not operating in with your gifts and stuff like
You're
that,
not
right?
growing.
You're not growing, right? So all that can disrupt your growth, right? Long term. But then the last thing that I want to say, I think it's also the last thing, is that distractions and modern culture. It's tough, eh? Distractions, right? So like things like our phones and entertainment and the constant noise and social media. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, like things like our phones and like, so this is a thing that's happening in our generation, right? Attention span. Jeez. Yeah, because it's the same thing, right? Like sometimes we can stay. I see a lot of people can stay through a sermon. Yeah, because your phone is like instant, like 3-second TikToks. Or
I've actually been getting better at like listening to sermons. So actually,
She's trying to save herself.
I only look at it for like, for a millisecond if my mom texts me. But aside from that,
you're trying,
go through the whole, go on my social media or go do anything else.
I mean, that's true. I mean, it's the thing is, as long as you're kind of trying, because modern culture does affect Christianity, right? And a lot of things that we're taught in the Bible is countercultural.
True.
What is that?
Counterculture is like, if the culture is saying this, the Bible speaks against it consistently.
Okay.
So, for example, if like in the case of like music, of course, because I think the Bible says that we are living sacrifices, right? Like we have to offer our bodies holy and acceptable to God, right?
Okay, so as we're reading Galatians 5:19, something came up as we're reading the desires of our sinful nature, and the selfish ambition is like, it just kept on going in my head. Like sometimes it's just our drive to be like, future career people, or the point where it says drunkenness and wild partying. But the one that really got to me was outbursts of anger. Yeah. And I thought of crashing out.
Crash out,
yeah. Like you remember crash out culture when it came out? Everybody was posting about crashing out, and I felt like, to be honest, these are things we do and we just take it like, oh, we're doing it. Like me and some of the girls, when we meet up and we're talking, we're just having a conversation, but when you listen deep, we're actually gossiping. And
that's
it's
crazy.
Like, oh, wait,
we
we're gossiping.
We have to like check ourselves. Like we cannot be gossiping about. We can't be.
You have to constantly like keep checking yourself.
And it's really because it's like normal. Like just to sit down and talk about other people and just have laughs. But at the same time, it's like these are certain things we are not to do. So to be honest, living in this time and modern age is difficult.
Yeah, and I think that to end it, right? But I think that if we keep I think every Christian has to think that if you're going to excel and be the best version of yourself, especially being a Christian, you have to understand that there's a real struggle between yourself, like your flesh, and your spirit.
Yes.
And just know that I think there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that Christians don't really realize is that what the Bible teaches is countercultural. Right. And so, like you said, right, it's crash out culture. And then the Bible says these are things of the flesh. Outburst of anger, right? So obviously you see, when you start seeing those trends, you're not immediately just going to go with it because you know that, oh, I can do that because I have, that. So those are some of the things that we have more to talk about, but we can talk about it in the next episode. We can continue talking about like why Christians struggle. And I think it's a real good topic, especially a lot of people are struggling. And so we want to be able to give hope and not make it seem like it's too hard, but there is an actual solution, right? And so we're going to continue this in the next episode. That'll be issue 2. And so,